Hi, I'm Handy Mora from Blogging for Coaches. Steve and I are back once again to give you 5 more tips on how to drive traffic from LinkedIn to your blog. So we're both excited to share these with you, so let's jump right in, let's get to it. The first thing you want to do is position yourself properly in a way so people can find you and can connect with you. So to do this, there are a few settings that you should double check to make sure that they're enabled. First, if you go under the settings on the top right of the screen, the first step is my profile photo. You want to make sure that your photo is visible to everyone. Your photo identifies you and identifies that you're a real person. That's really important. So if you click on my photo profile, just make sure it's set to everyone. The next thing you want to check is that your public profile is set to full, which means that all your information is visible in your public profile. This is important because some of the links are contained in the full profile. The easiest way is just to click the full view, which is the recommended. The third thing you want to check is the member feed visibility. You want to be visible to everyone. You want to make sure that any update you do, any activity you do, everyone can see it. So if you click on member feed visibility, make sure it's set to everyone, not only my connections and my network. You want the entire world to see what you're up to. The next thing you want to check is you want to check that your contact settings are set so that you're receiving any introductions or in-mails. That means if someone's trying to get to know you or connect with you, that you get notified. If you click the contact settings, make sure that you accept introductions and in-mail, and if you like, you can decide what kind of opportunities you like. This is not as important, but one piece of information that's really critical is you want to give people advice on how to, the easiest way of contacting you. So here we recommend putting another link to your contact page on your blog. So Steve has a message here saying the easiest, most effective way to get a hold of me is through my website, and there's the link to the contact page. The next thing you want to do is add as many connections to your network. Now, these connections can be people you find by searching LinkedIn, or more importantly, people in your group. So let me show you how to do this. First, if you want to search for people in your industry, you click on the top right of the screen, make sure it's set to people. And for example, if you're a coach, you type coach, a list of all different types of coaches will show up. So for example, James, if I'm interested in what he has to say, I want to connect with him because he's a certified coach, I can click directly from here, say add to my network. Second way is if you go to groups, I'm going to choose one of my groups. The second way is to connect with people. People who have generated good discussion. It'd be good to add these people to your network. So for example, if I open one of these discussions and I'm interested in, let's say, what Francis has to say, I can click on his name and this will take me to his profile, and I can add Francis to my network. So these are 2 great ways and simple ways to add people, targeted people who are interested in the same kind of work and industry you're in, to your network. The next important thing to do is to add more high-profile connections. Now, what does that mean? Well, high-profile connection is someone in your industry that has a lot of readers or a lot of followers or a lot of connections on LinkedIn. People you've been following for a while or reading their newsletter. So first, I want to show you one thing. Under contacts, if you go under network statistics, you can see that Steve has 623 direct connections. But it also tells you that in 2 degrees away, meaning that Steve's connections are 192,000 plus. And people that are 3 degrees away are 7,500,000 plus. So what does that mean is people have visibility through their second and third degree connections. So the more people, the more connections that your connections have, the more visibility you get. So people get to see that you're friends with your connection, and then their connections get to see that as well. It sounds all confusing, but the bottom line is the more high profile, the more connections you have with people who have a lot of connections, the better exposure you'll get. So for example, if you want to add John Chow to your LinkedIn connections, all you need to do is type John Chow, and since I'm already following him, I don't have the option to add him to my network. But if I did, it would look something like this. Add to network. And the important thing is you want to enter a message that is personal, something that tells John that you've been involved, you've been following him, you've been reading his articles. So you would say something like, "Hey John, I've been a member of your blog for a year now. I'd like to add you to my professional network." Then sign your name. Don't leave a generic message. It doesn't leave a good impression. Another simple but really effective way of getting more traffic to your blog is to add one of your articles on your blog into the news section of a group. Let me show you how this works. If I go into my groups, I'm just going to click on one of my groups. What you can do here is something called submit news. So I'm going to submit news, and then first it asks you for the website, the URL of your article you want to submit. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste one of my articles from my website. Hit continue. Now, it's a neat trick here. Right now by default it shows you the group that you're in, but if you know other groups that you're a part of, you can simply type them in. So if I know one of my other groups is Blogging for Coaches, Mind Power for Entrepreneurs, etc., I can type them in, and if I want to add a message, optionally I can add one. But once I hit share, the link to the article on my blog will show up right here in the news section. So this is a great way to get exposure to your blog directly in the groups. But just a word of caution, you don't want to blast all your articles on the groups. You want to add the article that's relevant to the topic discussed in the group. You don't want to be seen as a spammer. The last tip Steve and I want to share with you is the use of answers, which is very similar to forums as we learned in the last video. But this time, you're thinking outside the box. You're not going out answering questions, but you're posting your own question. Now, if you carefully think about the question and ask questions that will spark interest and attract attention, your profile, first you'll get a lot of answers, but second, you'll get a lot of discussion and also a lot of exposure to your profile. And we know from before that when your profile is exposed, people will check you out and they have direct access to your blog. So answering questions is great, but asking questions is even better. So let me show you how to do that. In the main LinkedIn page, instead of people, go under answers. And if you were searching for a question, you would type it in here. But what you can do is go under advanced and select ask a question. You type in your question here, and if you want to add any additional details, you can do them down here, and all you need to do is choose the category that's appropriate. And you're done. Hit ask a question and you'll be surprised how fast people will answer your questions. Thanks again for watching our video. Please make sure you get out there, use LinkedIn, let it drive traffic back to your blog. And while you're out there, make sure you connect with Steve and I on LinkedIn. Looking forward to meeting you.